What's up, life groups? Here's the most challenging scripture ever. And I don't know how I read this so many times and read it backwards, but Jesus says this: therefore, if you're offering your gift at the altar, and therefore remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First, go and be reconciled to them, and then come and offer your gift. This weekend, we talked about how to forgive impossible people. And Jesus has this really challenging direction here. He says, let's say you're at church and you've brought an offering, right? Like you're in this moment where you're there for God, right? And then you remember, he says, that somebody has something against you. This is how you respond. You drop your offering, you drop what you're doing, you go take care of that, and then you come back. He says the priority for our Father is that you love your brother and sister well, and that's the most important thing. Singing songs, giving gifts, all this kind of stuff. There's nothing more spiritual than the way you treat people. He says this is priority to him. But you know, I read this backwards for years because I thought it said if you have something against them, you go and be reconciled with them. But that's not what he says. He says you remember that they have something against you. Meaning there's a strain in the relationship and you haven't done everything you can to go make it right. You know, the world says you forgive somebody after they apologize to you, but the gospel says we're all sinners. We all fall short, Romans 3:23, right? While we were still sinners, Christ died for us, meaning we will go and try to make things right. We will offer forgiveness. We'll humble ourselves, even if we don't get that apology. Right? We take responsibility for that strained relationship and we try to make things right. And we see that in the example of Jesus. This weekend we talked about how Jesus gives us an answer about forgiveness. He gives us an example about forgiveness, and he gives us a warning about forgiveness. And you're with your group right now, and it's been a few weeks, and maybe you're comfortable opening up a little bit more, and maybe you're on Zoom talking with a group of people, or maybe you're in a backyard with some friends. I want you to go ahead and say it. What is that relationship in your life that it feels impossible to forgive, but maybe with God's help, you can take a step toward that? And share what you're comfortable sharing, but make sure you pray that God does what only he can do, which is to bring that healing.